There's two things I want to do before we get into our next piece here of our check presentation. One, here again, this is the 49th year we've been doing this under 49th president. But to my right is Mr. Lee Lewis. My left, there he is right here. He's, I want to introduce to you right now the 50th president of the All Sports Association to take place in May. So, all right, with him also Drew Espy. He's after him, he'll be the 51st. Sitting next to him on his right is Don Collins, that's our precious treasurer. He keeps everything in check. So that's our meter board, and of course, we'll get to Joe here in a minute. Well, let's go ahead and do Joe now, matter of fact. I want to introduce one other person here on the awards table. She had the opportunity this morning to do her presentation. The Taylor Haugen Trophy is a very remarkable award to receive. A lot of y'all know the details behind that, but Miss Maddie Hires, would you please stand up, Maddie? There she is, right there. She didn't say anything, she did a speech this morning. She's a recipient of the Taylor Haugen Trophy, so congratulations to you, Maddie. All right, we also want to do our check presentations now. So as Lee's getting that set up, we have a Big Four organization that we donate to, and our first one is the Okaloosa County Special Olympics. So I'm going to ask Ms. Pam Sparks if she come forward. All right, thank you, Pam. Now, our next organization, Mr. Sherman Ross, if you come forward. This is the Boys and Girls Club of Herman Coast. All these checks are equal amounts of $35,000 each. So auction items and different things we do as fundraisers, all these go towards these efforts. All right, now we got my man here. Who knows Todd Gatlin? Remember he received our Al Byrne Award last year? Big Todd Gatlin. He's executive director for the Eleanor Johnson Youth Center. He's been doing that for over 20 years now. Does a great job, has a lot of support, so we want to bring up Todd Gatlin at this time. Come on, Todd. All right, and now our final check presented this evening is for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The executive director of that is Miss Michelle Carmichael. She's done a great job, I mean, working with the schools and getting in the huddles and all, and she's done an outstanding job. And FCA wouldn't exist today without the work that Michelle Carmichael does. So, been a good friend for a long time, so with that being said, we also recognize the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. All right, now we have a special award. Well, it's not really that special. It's something that they find easy to do and we find easy to do as well. I'm going to ask Dr. Devin Stevenson to come forward. The college, we do a lot of stuff, the partnership with the Northwest Florida State College. And those folks, they have a lot of good stuff going on over there. The academic success that they're having, the athletic success that they're having, being one of the top 10 universities, community colleges in the country. Their boys basketball is #1 in the country. Girls basketball is top 5 in the country. Baseball won a national championship. They don't know how to lose. So they continue to do a good job. Dr. Stevenson's been with us for only a couple years, and they've come a long way. So we do some things, and Ramsey, who's the athletic director for Northwest Florida State College, they, every time we go and ask them about something, about doing an event, They always welcome us with receiving arms, open arms, and they never bat an eye. So we appreciate all that they do. They run sports programs for the Eldon Johnson Youth Center and as well as for the Boys and Girls Club. And so we just want to take an opportunity to present a check to them for $5,000 for all that they do for us as well. All righty. So with that being said, but there's one more I'll do. I'm going to do that right now while we're giving out stuff. The Past President's Award is always a big deal. Y'all probably already seen it, but we're going to go ahead and present it to the right person. Joe, he's been right there for it. He said, listen, I'm going to get out of your way. And when I took over the gavel in May, he stayed long enough to call a meeting to order, and he says, I'm out. It's all yours. So he doesn't get in the way. He says, if you need me, you know where I'm at. Don't hesitate to call me. Joe's done a great job even as president and obviously as past president as well to help keep us on track with what we continue to want to do to accomplish in the association. So I want to take this time to recognize Mr. Joe Fagundes, the new badge owner, past president of the All Sports Association.
Before announcing this year's winner of the Al Byrne Award, I want to read a couple of sentences from the nomination form, which gives you a flavor of what this award is all about. The Al Byrne Award recognizes local individuals who share the late Colonel's belief that young people should be provided the facilities and adult leadership to experience athletic training in competitive individual or team sports. That winner should also believe, as Al Byrne did, that the young people who participate will learn life's lessons that will help them succeed in their later endeavors. This year's winner embodies all of those requirements and much, much more. I have the opportunity to see this man escort his beautiful family into the church I attend every Sunday morning. And so it's with great personal pleasure that I ask a past president of this association, Dennis Chavez, to bring his father, Ray Chavez, to the podium to receive this year's Al Byrne Award. Dennis, if you would start forward. Ray did not know until this moment that he had been selected. As he comes forward, let me just tell you in advance that I cannot, in a few moments, summarize the contributions that this man has made to the local athletic programs and our local youth over the last 35 years. He has coached at every level. He has players, baseball players, that have played in the major leagues, many others that have participated in collegiate programs. But I think I capture Ray Chavez best when I quote from two sentences that Cindy Gates furnished me in her nomination letter. Two letters that were written by some of Ray's former players. One of our former award winners had this to say: Coach Ray's messages and lessons to the players were always beyond baseball. Whether it was telling you to give your best effort 100% of the time or just reminding you to encourage one another, you could apply all of Coach Ray's advice and wise words to your life to become a better person and teammate. Another former team player of his wrote these words: I keep in my room today a bookshelf on which I keep signed baseballs by professional players. At the top of my shelf, in the center of the top shelf, I have a baseball signed by my role model, Ray Chavez. And so, Coach Ray, to a grateful community, thank you for making a difference. This year's Al Byrne Awarder, my good friend, Ray Chavez.
his hair up. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank the association. I think I got the other guy's name in my pocket. Reagan Huff. Okay? Then I want to go to Miss Cindy Gates, who at Chata, where I coached, I asked her many times, keep an eye on my ball players and let me know when they go astray, because I'll get them back online, you know. But she said, Ray, you got some fine people at Chata. And we did. I brought these kids up when there was 7 all the way up to high school. And I tell you what, in this area, we have a large percentage of people that have gone forward and now we're graduating. I know a lot of them, Mike Madden and Reed Chavez, the twins, Hunters, and many, many, many more. Thing is that I'm proud of those individuals because of what they've succeeded in there. And all I can say is I want to thank the mothers and dads that bring those kids to practice, and they wait there till I'm through. They say, when are you going to get through, Coach? I said, when I get through. Okay, so, but we couldn't have won if we would have just taken a half-hour practice. You got to stay long. I see the coach from what they'll do right there. He looks familiar, but that's all right. Question. And the mothers and dads that brought them out there, they did really well. And I had some fantastic coaches that did the hard work. All I did was yell, you know, so. At Chata, I want to thank Coach Johnson, Coach Neely. Coach Johnson was just a history book on baseball, taught me a lot. Neely, he did a fine job in the infield. And at Niceville, Coach Colquitt, real religious individual. And that helped me because I kept my mouth closed. And we got some kids. I got my grandson, Reed, got a 4-year scholarship to Kentucky. Now he's going into the medical field. He played ball there. At Kentucky, he was the mascot. If you know, he enjoyed that. But folks, I want to thank you all. Ms. Gates, thank you for taking care of my kids. And that's all I got. Thanks a lot. Okay? One more little thing, please. The most enjoyable moment when I coached T-ball. I had a little girl. She came up to me and she says, where do I play, Coach? She's 4 years old. I said, left field. She said, where's that? So I walked her to left field. I marked the big X. There's where you stand. Okay, I walked back to the dugout. I looked, she's gone. Called timeout. I called Mom and said, where is she? Coach, she's in the bathroom. Okay, walked back to the dugout. And then I look, a little child just dashing through the gate to left field. But she's looking for the spot, you know. She's looking for the X. She couldn't find it. She found it, and I could see how joyful. So what happens next? A base hit up the middle, past the shortstop, all the way to the fence, but she stayed on her eggs. 4 years old. Individual's name was Burkett. I loved her. Thank you.
Bernard has already mentioned the many, many hard workers in the All Sports Association who work year-round. But I will tell you, without any question, one of the hardest workers in the All Sports Association is the Executive Director of the Danny Wuerffel Trophy organization. I call to the podium at this time Tom Brazil. Tom.
Thank you, All Sports Association. Thank you for community for supporting us. This is a presentation venue like no other for us. What has become a bit of a tradition, we're going to have the jacket ceremony where Ty Darlington will place the blue blazer on his former roommate, last year's recipient, Trevor Knight. Now, I will tell you, we had a walkthrough last night, so we should have no issues, right? No issues. Here we go, Ty. Enjoy.
Sooner. There we go. Hey, it's an honor to be a part of this special family. Thank you for welcoming us back each and every year. Now it's my privilege to present this jacket to my good friend, Trevor.
Our 2017 Wuerffel Trophy recipient is a young man, an amazing young man named Courtney Love from the University of Kentucky. He's not a football player that does community service. After you see this video, you'll see that he is a community servant who happens to be pretty good at football and in the classroom. After the video, I'd like to ask Danny Wuerffel to come forth and make the presentation. Here's the video.
The University of Kentucky's Courtney Love, a native of Youngstown, Ohio, was one of 3 finalists for the 2017 Wuerffel Trophy. The other finalists being Blaze Taylor of Arkansas State University and Drew Tranquil of the University of Notre Dame. Courtney is the starting linebacker for the Wildcats, ranking 2nd on the team in tackles this season, and has started and been a captain in all 12 games. In the classroom, Love was named to the 2016 SEC Academic Honor Roll, graduating in May with a degree in Community and Leadership Development. He is currently working on a 2nd degree in Communication and serves as one of UK football's Student Athlete Advisory Committee representatives for the 2nd straight season. Love leads the team in community service hours and has a passion for mentoring children, especially those living in a one-parent household or children who have parents who are incarcerated. Because of his passion, he currently volunteers at Amachi Central, Kentucky, a mentoring program that seeks to pair caring, positive adults with children and youth in the bluegrass who have one or both parents in state or federal prison or are affected by incarceration in some way. Courtney serves in a Skype mentoring program with area high school students and has taken part in many events with UK Children's Hospital, Read Across America, and Special Olympics, along with many other service activities. In May of 2016, Love was chosen to participate in a service educational trip to Ethiopia, where he helped build houses as well as shoe shining boxes for men to be able to work and provide for their families. Courtney Love also delivered food to impoverished families and visited with orphans and widows. Your 2017 Wuerffel Trophy recipient, Courtney Love from the University of Kentucky.
Before Courtney comes up, there's a Canadian poet named Nelson Henderson who says, "The true meaning of life is to plant a tree under whose shade you do not expect to sit." The intentionality of doing something that you don't expect to have any reward from or something that comes back for you, but to plant a tree for someone else, and that is the spirit behind what we at the Wuerffel Trophy believe in, and we're trying to shine a light on that. And it's certainly fitting that we have been birthed out of, partnered with, and continue to love and work with the All Sports Association, because that's exactly what these men here tonight and many of those who have gone before us have done. And in the spirit of that quote, I thought of past president in 1970, James Tringus, Max Bruner in 71, Howard McGee, Bob Garner, Houston Harrison, and Pledger Sullivan, and others who planted trees way back when, under whose shade we now sit and enjoy this night and get to support so many good organizations. So we all hope to do that, and this year in college football, none has done that better than Courtney Love. So Courtney, come say a few words. Love you. Welcome to the family.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I want to thank All Sports and, just the Wuerffel Committee and, everyone here in Destin. It's been a total pleasure to be here, the past 2 days and, with my family. Got a chance to connect with them. I'm training in Atlanta right now and got a chance to meet with them in the airport the other day, and it was the happiest moment of my life to see them, see my dad, see my little sister, my little brother, and my stepmom, Nicole. And also my administration, they're here. And I would want to ask you guys, just please stand so you can be recognized really quick. Growing up, there were a lot of challenges. With my father, he's an ex-Marine. He's a guy he does not play any games. It's straightforward, white and black. You have to do everything right, and that's what he expects. He expects the best from me at all times. And like Danny said, with that last quote that he left us off on, my dad planted seeds that, he doesn't want anything back. He doesn't want anything in return. He just wants the best for myself. He wants the best for my brothers and sisters and just people. He wants to see people do good, genuinely, and he wants to see that with me. And, growing up, it's something that I feel, very called to do because not only the way I was raised, but just growing up and being in the city of Youngstown, Ohio, there's a lot of obstacles that a lot of people have to overcome. And, I think, growing up there was a lot of obstacles that, a lot of my friends and family members had to overcome, and it was tough. It was tough. But I had my dad, he's very special. He always, took me to Dick's so I go get my equipment for baseball or football or whatever I was doing, tutors and things. But he would always take me to Dick's and he was like, if you listen to me, you're gonna look like that mannequin right there. You're gonna look good. And that's just planting those seeds and not just looking like that mannequin, but just being someone who's strong, who's stout, who has a great mentality, who has a heart to give, a heart to help others and serve others. When we are united, with Christ and the love of Jesus, our mission to serve others and share the Lord's truths, we can accomplish much more, than we could on our own when we're with someone who can support us and who's together. Also, I really want to touch on, just the way, this whole environment here has been the last 2 days. It's been together. It's been a collective family. It's been, just amazing to see everybody come together in this city, and people from different places just come together for, the love of sports or, whether it's sports or outside of sports. Everyone's coming together for one purpose, and that's to serve others. That's to serve our Lord. And I think that's the main purpose in all of this. And, growing up, like I said, I want to thank Amachi. When I work with my mentee Antonio, it's probably one of the best feelings ever. He's a great he's an 8-year-old, and he's learning so much since I've met him. And without Amachi, without the University of Kentucky, without my dad, without this whole just people like you all today supporting. I don't think I would be here, and without God's grace, I don't think I would be here. But I was able to really get into his life and help transform that and give back to, the things that my father and, a lot of other people have instilled in me to really become someone special in his life. And, a quick story, we when I got with him, he loves this place. They have milkshakes. It's really kind of cheap. It's called Burgers and Shake. And he loves to go there. So it's cash only. We go there and let him get whatever he wants to get. And I told him, I said, do you have anywhere else you like to go, like milkshake? He said, I love seafood. Seafood is expensive now. And I'm in college, I'm living on scholarship and things like that. And he said, I want to go to Red Lobster. I said, all right, well, you do good in school. Your teacher gives me a good report. We're going to Red Lobster. And his teacher, I went to a school, teacher said, she said, you know, I can't thank you enough. Antonio did a complete 180 since you've been in his life. And, you know, that just really touched me so heavily because, you know, without my dad, you know, rescuing me from, you know, different things in my life and different temptations that, you know, a young man faces in life and, you know, just growing up, I don't know if I would have been able to do that 180 and really change for the better and just be disciplined and just really anchored in my faith and anchored in what he had in store for me up to now, and he still does. And like I said, you know, Antonio, he has changed, and it's just been such an honor to be in his life and just really help, you know, someone transform and just give that back. And I want to do that as much as I can. And, you know, with this trophy, it only builds that platform even more for me to do the things that I love and to serve others. And I just want to thank you all tonight and I really appreciate being here. Thank you.
You know, the association has a lot of opportunities to bring in some unique folks and do some good awards for people. And we have a great amount of support. And so we have some tentacles within the organization that can stretch out far and get nice speakers that you guys can come enjoy. And with that being said, we have an opportunity coming up on the 25th of April. All right? This is a pretty big deal. I see it better than I can, but Darryl Strawberry is coming to town. How many remember Darryl Strawberry? Okay. So Darryl Strawberry is coming to town. He's going to share his story, his testimony. You know, a lot of folks in our organization are men of faith. We're not ashamed to pray with each other and to support one another, and that's who we are and what we do. So this event that's going to take place on the 25th of April, we partner up with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Michelle Carmichael, and Sheriff Larry Ashley, and we put this event on and we partner up with Northwest Florida State College because we have it at Dr. Devon's facility there. It's going to be at the Maddie Kelly Arts Center. So we're going to roll a little clip and let you take a look at Darryl and kind of give you a peek of what's going to happen.
If I really would have known how great I was as a player, I would have took better care of myself. I would have got more rest. I would have went to bed at night. I mean, I hung out late nights and had to play the next day and get up there and hit home runs. But I was very sick in my drinking and my drugging and you know, my amphetamines that I was taking and just the whole lifestyle. I was embedded in sickness for a very long time, and I just realized that I had been troubled so deeply and scarred so deeply inside that I really just needed to get help. I had several moments, you know, of sitting around in my $1 million homes and by the pools and stuff and looking and saying, what does this all mean? You know, I have a bunch of stuff, got the homes, got the cars, but have no peace, have no joy. I went in rehab about 4 or 5 times, different facilities, to try to get well. I just wasn't ready. I was in denial. I tried everything else, but until I got on this path of my life and really surrendered my life to God and started living a real life away from all that stuff, it transformed my whole life, and it made me the person that I am today. I don't miss a game because it's a game. Life is not a game. Life is a journey, and life is more important than a baseball game. My wife and my children and my relationship with God is what exists in my life today.
All right, so we're excited about having Darryl Strawberry here. Again, that's April 25th, and by all means, feel free to come out and support us in that effort. Did I tell you we got Herm Edwards tonight? Did I tell you that? I think I'm about to mention that earlier. Come on up here, Don, introduce Herm Edwards.
Shortly after Herm Edwards was named as our speaker for this year's banquet, I was on the way to the office listening to a national radio show. One of the co-hosts asked this provocative question: out of all the sports figures present today, who would you like to see run for public office? The other co-host immediately answered, I would like to see Herm Edwards run for president. Such is the respect this man has in the sports world. He was the head coach of the New York Jets from 2001 to 2005, head coach Kansas City Chiefs from 2006 to 2008. Following that, he was an ESPN analyst until his recent appointment as the head football coach at Arizona State. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Coach Herm Edwards.
Thank you. Thank you. You're too kind. Way too kind.
You have the freedom to speak. You have the freedom to ask questions. You can ask people why. You don't have to just buy into this is the way it is. You can ask why.
Why are these guys being shipped off? Why are our top
They
guys
didn't
being
fit the
shipped
mold of what the coach wanted to do. You've played for coaches that you disagreed with. I played with coaches where I left the university because I didn't like the coach. Flat left. Hello? You play to win the game. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. I don't care how many coaches you have for this young guy. You want his emotion. That's who he is. But he's got to learn how to control his emotion. And I'm going for the ball like he did. They ain't calling it. I didn't pull his jersey.
Well, they call it a lot, actually.
They call it a lot, but they are not going to call it when his jersey didn't get pulled and I'm looking for this ball and we're both going up for it and he can't see it. He can't call it.
And what is
Fly, Eagles, fly. Tennessee, Tennessee, Tennessee. There you go. Rawr, Jaguars. The players think it's all about them.
exactly? But that's the.
It ain't about them. It's about the game of football, man.
Let me ask you this. Thank you. Well, that television makes you do some funny things, for sure. I never thought in my wildest dreams when I retired from coaching and got into television that I would actually like makeup. It kind of comes handy when you're on television. But really, tonight has been an extraordinary night for me personally when I look at your community and what it means to these young athletes, as well as the Boys and Girls Club, the FCA, Special Olympics. There's an old saying in life, my father taught me this, he was a military man. He fought in the Korean War and World War II. So I understand what freedom is. Freedom is never free. And we have to respect all those that serve our great country for us to have these freedoms, for us to sit here tonight. But the story he always told me was this. He says, you know, in life, son, he says, you can live your life to make a living, but a community lives their life to make a difference. And you folks are making a difference. For 49 years, you made a great difference in this community as far as the money you've allocated to these associations, and these athletes are being rewarded. And I think these young athletes, I've spoken to all of them, this is the future. And I know we live in this world that sometimes is shaded, and we hear news, you know, all news is bad news, my mom used to say. You know, there's no good news anymore. Well, there's proof. This is good news. These are our leaders of the future, these young people sitting up here. I think what brings us all together is kind of unique when you think about our country. It's divided socially, economically, religion-wise, politics-wise, what color you are. We all have different views. We all have different opinions about things. But I think the thing that's so unique about sports, it brings us all together, doesn't it? It's just this common bond that sports brings us all together. And all those divisions or questions we have about people, we don't have them. Whether you're a fan that walks into the stadium, or whether you're a Florida State fan, whether you're an Alabama fan, whether you're a Florida fan, it doesn't matter. You walk in there, you're a fan of the football team, or you're a fan of the basketball team, or whatever team you're a fan of, a collection of people walk into the arena, and all those complications in life kind of go away. We sit there and we enjoy the contest. When you think about sports, what makes it so unique and so great, it doesn't see anything. All it sees is athletes. You see a teammate. You learn how to work together as a team. You learn how to respect each other as teammates. All that other stuff really doesn't matter. You know, sports doesn't see color. All it sees is a level playing field where you compete. You compete to be a part of the team. You're a part of the team. Whatever role you serve, you're a part of the team. Sometimes I think in our country, we forget that. That's what this country was built on. It was built on people's opinions, but at the end, we understood we were all Americans. And I think sometimes we don't huddle up enough. This community has a fantastic huddle. It really does. When you look at the tables here, different people from all different walks of life, but you sit in here and you have one common goal. And that goal is to protect your community and to serve your community. My hat goes off to you folks. You have done a tremendous job. This thing's been going on for 49 years. Can you imagine that? 49 years you've been involved in this community. The thing I've learned about sports is real simple. When you're an athlete, the thing you learn is when you walk into the arena, you're exposed. Everything you do is seen by everyone that witnesses you participate in the game that you play. And it takes a tough-minded person to do that. It really does. And at one time, we were all athletes. I get it. You know, some better than others. Along the way, your journey ended. It ends for everybody eventually. And then I think you become a fan. You become a fan of the sport, or if it's your daughter or your son playing athletics, or if it's a college team or the pro team, and we watch it and we view it from a spectator's eye, and sometimes we forget how difficult sports really is, especially for young people. Maybe even more difficult than the world I lived in because of social media and everything that takes place. You know, sometimes we live through our athletes, and it's almost not fair because of all the temptations and all the things that are in the world, what we expect out of young people. This group of athletes up here, they represent this community and the sport they represent, A+. That's important. When you think about athletics, it's a part of our culture. It's a part of what we do every day. It's a part of our fiber. And to be an athlete is very, very tough because I said you have to expose yourself. And when you're not an athlete, the common denominator is this: everyone's a coach. Everyone's a coach. And everyone can coach the team better than the coach. I get it. I lived it. I understand it. But my credit goes to the athletes and to the coaches because it's a tough profession. Whether you're a high school coach, college coach now that I am, professional coach, because everyone's got a better idea than the coach, right? I get that. Just remember this. Your playing days are over. There's a reason you're a fan. Just enjoy being the fan. You don't have to be the coach. I say that in the sense, you know, I had this comfortable job working for the worldwide leader for 9 years, and, you know, I sat there and I'd analyze games and do all this, and there was no score. It was great. Now there's going to be a score. I get it. It's the first thing my wife told me, "You sure you want to do this?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going back." And I'm glad I went back because in life, the one thing you realize is that you have to have passion for what you do, whether it's parenting, whether it's being in the service, whether it's community service. I've always been involved with a team. The reason I stand here today is because of sports. My mom was a German war bride. She finished the 6th grade, never got a high school education. My father joined the service when he was 18 years old. He never graduated from high school. I'm the first graduate of our family that actually went to college. So I know what sports meant to our family. I know what it's meant to me. It's my whole life. It's all I've ever done. I was a talented kid coming out of high school, a dual athlete, went to school on a scholarship, was fortunate enough to play in the National Football League for another 10 years, and then from there got into the coaching profession and did that for another 20. I tell people this all the time. I've been very blessed. I never had a job. I've been on recess for 30 years, coaching and playing. And then you go to television, they say, "Coach, if you come on television, we'll pay you to talk about football." I said, "I'll do it. Well, let's go." Well, now I'm back in the profession because you miss it. You miss the huddle. You do. You miss the instincts in being around football players and football coaches. You know, I've always done that. I've always been involved in a team, and you miss that. And that's why I went back. I wasn't making a difference. I think I can make a difference in these young men's lives. I really believe that. You know, your task is to win games. My task has been very simple as a head coach. I want to make them better men when they played under me. And if I've done that, I've done my job, to be quite honest. And everything else takes care of itself. Sports has taught me a lot of humbling things. I know this is a religious community. I happen to be a Catholic, and I was a little upset when that Notre Dame, Florida State thing kind of stopped. I was like, where are the Catholics at, you know? I mean, come on, it's Notre Dame, the Golden Domers, touchdown Jesus, you know, all that stuff. You need to get the bid up there. But with that being said, I think you realize your priorities in life. You know, once religion becomes a part of your priorities, you understand that your faith, your family, and your occupation, it kind of works for me that way. I will challenge these young people up here and the young people in the audience to understand this. You may receive a lot of accolades in your careers as student athletes, and maybe some of you will go on into the professional world. That'd be great. You will possess a lot of things in your life. Your family will present you with a lot of possessions. You know, I have two daughters, 11 and 12, that's right. You're looking at me, yeah, 11 and 12, that's right. I got two daughters. Yeah. They're athletes, you know, and as parents, you know, you pay for college. When they graduate, you buy them a new car. You know, you pay for weddings. I got two of them to pay for. It's a shame, but it's okay. We live in a world because we look at our children and say we want them to have a better life than we had, and we want to obviously complete their life, and we do things like giving them possessions. And I've learned this along the way of my lifetime. The most powerful possession you can ever give your child is your last name. With that last name, realize this: it doesn't belong to you. My father taught me that. My father was a master sergeant, as I said. And one day I had chores in the back of the yard. You young people don't know what chores is. Google it. You figure out what that is, too. And the chores were very, very simple. It was sweep the backyard. You know, and I actually, growing up in my era, you had a broom. You didn't have the blower. You know, the people that do your yard now, they had a blower. And the guy comes in your yard and blah, 5 minutes is all gone. You say, where'd it go? No one ever picked it up. Yeah, it's down the road. It's in the neighbor's yard. Never blows, never blows. And so you sit there, you know, and you try to figure all this stuff out. And so I had a broom. I had a broom and a pail. And he says, sweep the backyard, son. And I, you know, sweeping the backyard. It took me about 10 minutes. He comes back out because he's the master sergeant. And I'm standing there with the broom, and I'm standing like this in attention. And he says, son, did you do a good job? And I said, yes, sir. And so he started inspecting my work. And he walks to the corners. And I didn't do the corner over there. And he walks to the other corner. Missed the corner over there. And he gets to the third corner, and he's done. He walks back in front, and he says, son, he says, I thought you said you did a good job. I said, I did, Dad. He says, well, you didn't do the corners. Now I had a bad answer for the master sergeant. I tell the master sergeant, Dad, nobody knows. Wrong answer to the master sergeant. He said, son, let me tell you a little story. He said, you signed on to do this, correct? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, you didn't do a good job. He said, your name's on your work. He said, every time you do something, you autograph it with your name. You understand that? And I said, yes, sir. He said, now here's what you don't understand. That name don't belong to you. It belongs to my father's father. And he gave it to me. And he said, he gave it to me in good standings. And I'm going to give it to you in good standings. He said, so you understand what I'm saying, son? And at 8 years old, you're kind of trying to figure it out. You're going, okay, I kind of understand it, you know. And then all of a sudden you become this athlete. And you realize when you walk into the stadium, The name on the back of the jersey belongs to your family. And every time you play, whatever sport you play, you represent your family's last name. And it's the most powerful possession you'll ever represent. And you represent the team that you play for. And you represent the community that you also play for. Because all those people in your community, whatever school you go to, they're going to be pulling for you. They're going to be watching you. And every time you do something well, they're going to be proud of you because you represent this community and you represent your parents' last name. And that's the most powerful possession you'll ever own. And you might own property and buildings and cars and all that, and it doesn't matter because you'll pass that on to your children and they'll pass it on to their children's children. And that's what makes it so unique. Our last name is the most powerful possession, and sometimes we lose sight of that. We get caught up in possessions. And I think as parents, we always have to remember that we have to make sure that we're people of integrity, that our words and our life match up, not by accident, every day. They got to match up. Because eventually what we do in the dark comes to the light. It just does. It never amazes me when I see people that we think that we know, and you watch them, and you go, really? Yeah, really. That will be your biggest test as an athlete. It'll be your values. People will test your values and your integrity. You cannot compromise that. Never compromise that. It's not worth it at the end. Because that's the only thing that stands true in our country, is people with integrity and values. And you can't buy it. You earn it every day you get up. This is a world that we're looking for people with integrity. We want to follow people. We want to be led by people with integrity, that you can trust them. That's the world I grew up in. And we can still live in that world, but we got to do it. We can't talk about it. We got to do it every day. That was my sworn promise to my father as I became a young man. And those were basically my marching orders as a young kid. Because when he left the backyard and told me, hey, you finished your work, son. Your name's on it. You finished the work. And before he closed the door, he turned back around and he said, you know that last name? Don't you screw it up. That was his marching orders. And he was right. I leave you with that, is that when we stand here tonight and you look at this community, you'll go off to college. But as you go off individually, collectively, this whole community will follow you. You represent this great community. One day, you will sit in this audience. Danny Wuerffel told me, 9th grade. I've been here since the 9th grade. He's sitting up here with one of those jackets on, right? He's a part of this community. He's a part of this. Don't lose sight of it. One day, you'll be standing up here. One day, you'll be speaking. You might be the guest speaker here. We don't know what road you're going to travel, but I do know this. This community is counting on you. They're praying for you. And you got to represent them in the right way. That's important. That'll be more important than anything you could ever accomplish as an athlete. I know that because I was raised in a community similar to this one. And every time I walked into the stadium as a college athlete, as a professional football player, as a professional coach, I realized that. And it didn't matter what the fan base was in the community. I was their guy. I represented my community. I represent my father's last name. That's the most important thing I have. And I learned my lesson as I continued to grow up. I'm not screwing it up, no matter what. My integrity is the most precious thing I own. I'm a father, as I said. I do believe this. Children can't choose their parents. Can't. They don't choose us. And I think when we are parents of integrity and a value system that they can emulate, we've done our job. That's kind of important. We have to do our job. Kids are looking for parents to be their role models. It upsets me when I hear parents sometimes tell me that an athlete is their role models. Why? They bear your last name. Athlete can be your hero, not your role model. Parents need to be your role models. They bear our last names, no one else's. I have 2 daughters to raise. When they look at me, I want to make sure they see a father that loves his wife that's a man of integrity. Because one day they will marry. And I want to make it hard on the guy that's going to marry my daughters. Real hard. Really hard. I will challenge you young folks with this as I stand here, and it's kind of interesting. I was writing this down when I was on the plane. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of self-motives. Do good anyway. Being honest and to the point will make you vulnerable. Be honest anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you might get kicked in the teeth. Give the world your best anyway. If you do that, you'll be successful. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to be here tonight. It's been quite an experience for me personally. May God bless you, your families, and your community. Thank you very much.
Coach, outstanding job. You know, think about Proverbs 18:21, which says a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. And your name is something that you ought to take pride in. We talk about that with the family. And, you know, it's something that you have control over. Your personality, how you react, how you respond, that's something you do have control over. So going forward, young folks, just remember, take pride in your name, just as Coach said, and sort of be in control of that. You know, everything that we do is watched. Everything that we do is monitored. So just be careful in all that effort. So thank you, Coach. Outstanding job. Coach mentioned his passion for the military. And, you know, we got General Webb is here. General Durteen is here. Both commanders out, General Webb at Hurlburt and General Durteen out at Oakland. Colonel Polinsky's here. You know, we thought it important enough to make sure we have military represented. So these two tables, 1, 2, 3, table 3 and 4 in front of me there, all military members. So let's give those folks a hand. Folks, we're going to sing God Bless America. I think it's only appropriate that we do that. So let's go ahead and let's everybody stand. That's where we're going to close out. Anybody know the words? Where's Layla? She's going to come up here. God bless America, land that I know, stand beside her and guide her through the light and the lights from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide as cold. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. All right, outstanding. Appreciate all y'all that did all the words. Outstanding job. We appreciate the military being represented here, and you guys, hope you all enjoyed the evening. Thank you.